Good morning, Yang Berhormat Prof. Dr. P. Ramasamy.
Morning.
The Deputy Chief Minister 2 of Penang, distinguished guests, industry captains, mentors, teachers, students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome everyone. Thank you for being here with us to celebrate launching ceremony of the first Tech Challenge at Penang. FTC is organized in Penang for the first time by Penang Science Cluster with the support of companies in Penang, which are Plexus, Jabil, Motorola Solutions, Vitrox, Agilent, HPMM, Keysight Technologies, NI, GreatTech, and Micron. Up to 14 teams with a total of 111 students from 12 secondary schools in Penang are competing with the guidance of 39 mentors from these companies. Without further ado, let me hand over the stage to Mr. Ooi Peng Ee, the CEO of Penang Science Cluster. Mr. Peng Ee, over to you.
Thank you, Shah. Yang Berhormat Professor Dr. Ramasamy, Deputy Chief Minister 2 of Penang, Mr. Victor Tan, APEC Regional President, Plexus Manufacturing, Mr. Solomon Lortu, Vice President and Country Manager of Motorola Solutions Malaysia, Mr. Yeo Shih Hung, Executive Vice President of Vitrox Technologies, Mr. Selvum Kinapan, APEC Manufacturing and Managing Director of NI Malaysia, Mr. Chai Ming Fee, Country General Manager of Agilent Technologies Malaysia, Ms. Kueh Lin Lin, Chief Financial Officer of GreatTech Technology, Mr. Lu Xian Xiong, Director of Operations, HP Malaysia Manufacturing, Mr. Lu Keng Leong, Senior Director, Operations and Engineering of Keysight Technologies, Mr. Murthy Murugaya, Malaysia GBBP Director, Micron Memory Malaysia, Mr. Yu Chia Wei, R&D Director of NI Malaysia, Ms. Jenny Si, Admin Manager of Jabil Circuits, Mr. Kelvin Chiu, Strategic Planning Manager, HP Malaysia Manufacturing, Ms. Nora Zian Wahab, Academic Relations Manager, Corporate Impact, NI Malaysia, Ms. Tan Ji Shin, STEM Program Lead of NI Malaysia. Mentors, teachers, students, and members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm so glad to be with you all today to witness the launch of the first Tech Challenge by the end of Penang Science Cluster's board, YB Yang Berhormat Professor Ramasamy. Let me start my speech by sharing with you a story about one of my dreams. In Penang Science Cluster's first year of operations in 2010, we started with Lego Robotics program, and PSC supported 29 schools in the learning of robotics and in their participation in the National Robotics Competition, or the NRC, organized by SASBADI. 10 years later, the number of schools participating in NRC and supported by Penang Science Cluster shot up to 80 schools from 29 schools. But the complexity of the robots constructed has not really changed, and in my mind remained quite simple. Now, don't capability nor imagine. Issue lies with the limitation of the robotics platform used in the NRC. It has been my dream for many years now to see a more challenging robotics competition in Malaysia for our more experienced and more capable students. A competition that will really test the abilities of these secondary school students. And now, finally, my dream has been realized. Enter the first Tech Challenge, a step up from the Lego robotics platform to a more complex robotics platform that will allow our students to be more innovative in their robot design. First Tech Challenge is not just technically more challenging, it will test our students' ability to learn on their own through YouTube, Google, or whatever, wherever. They will have to learn to leverage each team member's skills in mechanical construction, coding, innovation, collaboration, perseverance, and leadership as they work together as a team to achieve the goals of the competition. In fact, First Tech Challenge reflects how engineers in industry work and persevere as a team to solve problems, including documenting their work and designs as they go along. Penang Science Cluster has big plans for the First Tech Challenge. In this pilot season, we want to see how our students rise to this higher level of challenge and what improvements we need to make in future to deepen the students' learning. In the following year, Penang Science Cluster intends to make the First Tech Challenge a national level competition where the winner in Malaysia gets to go to the United States to compete against the world's best. Students, you should be thankful of the many companies here today that is making this unique opportunity available to you. These companies have stepped forward to sponsor the First Tech Challenge, as well as recruiting the engineers to volunteer as mentors for you. For making this tremendous opportunity available to our students, I would like to record my sincere appreciations to the First Tech Challenge founding companies, namely Plexus, JBL, Motorola, NI, Vitrox, Agilent, HPMM, Keysight, and Great Tech. Please join me in giving these companies a round of applause. To these founding companies and their volunteer mentors, Penang Science Cluster would like to say a big thank you and ribuan terima kasih to you for inspiring our students in innovation and engineering and helping to create our future pool of engineers. Last but not least, by any measure, I would like to thank the teachers for encouraging and coaching your students in this upcoming First Tech Challenge. Teachers help determine the future of our students more than anything else. So thank you for what you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ooi Peng Ee. Now, I would like to invite Yang Berhormat Prof. Dr. P. Ramasamy to give a speech.
Okay, thank you very much for the invitation for this very important program by the Penang Science Cluster. That is the first Tech Challenge. And I think before actually I give my speech, I think I have to mention some very important names. And the first one is, of course, Ooi Peng Ee, who is the CEO of the Penang Science Cluster. And he's a man who behind the Penang Science Cluster. I think over the years, I've seen how Penang Science Cluster has moved from one challenge to other challenges. And today we are actually facing, looking at the First Tech Challenge. Then you have Mr. Victor Tan, the regional president of APAC of Plexus Manufacturing, Mr. Solomon Lotu, vice president of Penang Operations and interim country manager of Motorola Solutions Malaysia, Mr. Yo Shih-Hung, executive vice president of Vitrox Technology, Sdn Bhd, Ms. Ko Shih-Hung, executive vice president of Vitrox Technology, Sdn Bhd, Ms. Ko Kuei Lin Lin, CFO of Great Tech Technology Berhad, Mr. Lu Sian Siong, Director of Core Operations of HP Manufacturing, Malaysia Manufacturing, Mr. Lu Keng Leong, Senior Director of Operations and Engineering of Keysight Technologies, Mr. Selvam Chinnapan, Senior Director of APAC Manufacturing and Managing Director of NI Malaysia, Mr. Murthy Murugaya, Malaysia GPP Director, People Organization of Micron Memory, Malaysia Sdn Bhd, Mr. Chai Meng Fee, Country General Manager of Agilent Technologies Malaysia, Ms. Jenny C., Administrative Manager of Jabil Circuit Sendirian Berhad, Mr. Yu Chiawe, R&D Director of NI Malaysia, Mr. Calvin Chu, Strategic Planning Department Manager of HP Malaysia Manufacturing, Ms. Noor Azian Abdul Wahab, Academic Relations Manager of Corporate Impact of NI Malaysia, Mr. Tan Ji Shin, STEM Program Lead of NI Malaysia, mentors, teachers, students, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me a great pleasure to be here to launch the First Tech Challenge. And before I do that, I would like to share with you a special occasion, a milestone for our beloved state of Penang. This year, 2022, marks the 50th anniversary of the birth of the electronics industry in Penang. 50 years ago, 8 samurais came to Penang. The samurais are not warriors with swords, but the multinational companies which came to establish the offshore mining, manufacturing operations among the paddy fields in Bayan Lepas. One of the reasons they came was because Penang had young and educated people who can be transformed into disciplined and productive workforce to assemble products in the factories. Fast forward 50 years, today Penang is known as the Silicon Valley of the East, with an estimated 5% of the global semiconductor export. Today, 60% of Malaysia's electrical and electronic exports comes from Penang alone. Penang has diversified beyond semiconductors to instrumentation, storage, solar automation, and medical devices industries, and is home to many global high-tech companies from all over the world. Equally important, Penang local companies have grown from young startups servicing the multinationals here to become leading technology companies in their field and exporting their high-tech products worldwide. That's not all. Penang continues to garner the lion's share of foreign direct investments into Malaysia, attracting new global companies in new exciting industries. What I shared may be over the heads of our young students joining our launch today. So let me share something more relevant and more meaningful, the type of work all of you students might be doing in future after you graduate. In the 50 years of Penang's industrial growth, the nature of work in companies in Penang has transformed from labor-intensive assembly work to capital-intensive, knowledge-based jobs. Today, engineers in Penang are doing high-valued added work from research, design, and development, fully automated manufacturing to global supply chain management, competing and collaborating with the world's best engineers in other countries. This is the type of work you will be doing in future should you choose technical and engineering field of studies and career. No question about it, there are plenty of jobs available for technicians and engineers. The existing high-tech companies and new companies setting up the operations in Penang need a lot of highly skilled technical talent. To meet this tremendous demand by industries, Penang needs to develop our students of today into talent of tomorrow. Anticipating this back in 2009, the Penang state government partnered with the industry to establish the Penang Science Cluster to spark interest in STEM and inspire our young students in science, technology, and innovation. This is why I'm happy today to launch the Penang Science Cluster's latest initiative, the First Tech Challenge, the premier robotics competition for secondary school students, and for the first time, it is held in Malaysia. First Tech Challenge will provide all of you students an opportunity to work and learn together as a team to design, build, and program your innovative robot to meet the set challenge. You'll also get a chance to develop your strategic and collaboration skills in partnering another team to compete against another set of teams. I'm told that a high percentage of students participating in First Tech Challenge go on to pursue engineering in universities. This is very good because Penang needs more of you, our future engineers. At this point, I would like to record my sincere appreciation to First Tech Challenge founding companies in Malaysia: Lexus, Jabil, Motorola Solutions, NI, Vitrox, Agilent, HPMM, Keysight, Great Tech, and Micron for sponsoring the First Tech Challenge as well as encouraging young engineers to volunteer as mentors to our participating students. These companies and their employees are helping Penang State Government to inspire our students in engineering and create a future pool of engineers. For that, I must thank you. I would like to thank the teachers for encouraging and coaching students in the First Tech Challenge. Teachers, more than anyone else, shape our future generation of students. So teachers, if there's anything you need to help your students, please let us know through Penang Science Cluster. Last but not the least, I want to congratulate Penang Science Cluster for partnering with industry and bringing this exciting First Tech Challenge to Penang for our students. Thank you very much.
Thank you, YB Prof, for your kind words and for joining us today to launch the First Tech Challenge.
Can I just take a moment because I have noticed I want to acknowledge the presence and thank Mr. Chu Jianwing, the President and CEO of Vitrox Technologies. Mr. Chu has been a tremendous sponsor of our programs and an asset to our community. So thank you, Mr. Chu. All right, back to you, Shah.
Okay. Right. Thank you, YB Prof, for your kind words for joining us today to launch the First Tech Challenge at Penang. Now, let's play a video to commemorate the launch. As you can see from the video, this year's theme is Pride Frenzy, whereby the teams and their robots must navigate a complex transportation system by traversing barriers and racing against time to load and deliver essential items to those who need them the most. We are excited to witness the young minds who take over this challenge. We will also like to take this moment to extend our gratitude to all the parties that are directly or indirectly involved in making the First Tech Challenge possible. All right, once again, we truly appreciate the support from you and your volunteers in making this event a reality and a success. Last but not least, shout out to all the teams, and we hope you enjoy yourself throughout this exciting journey. Take care and stay safe.